So hopefully you're starting to see a pattern develop, MTF. Out there in the real world about how to play this stuff, make them animated, do the sheets about some of the other models that we have for the interpretation, following the line. This is dot equals Feynman's view of reality, and it's a nasty one. That's the Corey face. Got a crack in it, isomatic or otherwise, about what it is. Well, that means something. It may not mean the total sum of the information, but that's certainly an emission. The color or spin on the issue is always relative, but we're going through mining out the coin or what I'm selling in terms of Bitcoin. It is what it is. Trying to get there well, I guess what it is. But when you get into the sheets models of Dubai or whatever it is, not Dubai, it's I forget, they got a 10-year extradition timeline on what it is. I'm kind of sitting in one, but it's in the terrorism department of it itself, which she's like, well, if you're looking at all these cases, terrorism doesn't have an expiration date on it. And well, it's really the legal systems to do that with what I've been doing as far as was a failure to a mission by not giving me a timeline of the court cases, getting a conflict of interest or integrity under the organization number. And again, I really don't have what it takes to win that. Getting in there with Billy Madison and Linux and 056 or one of them getting it. Which is anybody doing that job. You're usually going to measure twice, cut once. And the middle game in there is this screw mechanism or the spiral staircase, as it were, in Pensro's work, or how it's a Pensro diagram that serves the internal mechanics that does what it does over here. Real simple. Get real numbers, put them in, and do those cases, because they're not only this. Again, this is just the way that you're going to want to depict it, so it is what it is when we get in here to what the job might be or how to present the information in such a way. Again, I'm being behind the scenes here. If I wanted to present that and just get that off of it, well, then I'd do that. But here, XY, I can do both and serve the mechanism instead of just the original rip for this file. And those are the steps. We're going to get in here, talk about Freemasonry that doesn't really exist in this town. It's just a Serpent Library number would be a good one to kick inside of here as a friendly little photon reminder, or something you'll see later around that's been out there. And that's just how that goes. You're going to build a character card between you and the Corn Demon of doing the same thing different. You just happen to be on the Walmart corn fox lettuce variants on it already. Well, this one is doing the same thing while trying to integrate the area or the smooth globular state of Bohr's radius in this model. There's a few others that do it, but you're looking for the big luxes. I need light cone to grow red solo cup, and that's the relative nature of what that does, because, well, I'm sure a red shifted to this blue shifted model, or any protobation that happened to be later ball wave in there is going to be some kind of these models. I mean, look at all the different combinations we have. It's not all of them are going to do what we need here. And legally, I don't necessarily know the way around I don't imagine most people do. I mean, you're still out here going to be doing this. What was the common thing you're supposed to do? Jump into it. If that's somebody's first day on a loop, well, then you're just as screwed as anybody else inside of their poke and hope and push buttons there in your Jaeger suit until you find it out and drag her back home. Nobody's going to argue with that until they come, relieve yourself from command here and do what it is. And so you'll get into the other models. And whether they be just your regular models of different query searches or flattening information, VLOOKUPs under your styles, how to be able to do that, know what they're going to look like, because what is it? It's not Nicolas Cage, is it? Yeah, Nicolas Cage over there with magic numbers. They might turn into the locations or times or some predicted number of Ultramarines or Cadians or Death Guard down there that's supposed to get it. Maybe there was a special number of determining the pattern to see something over a much larger data set. It doesn't really work when you get close to 0 because it's just something you can see. It's within the orders of 1 and 2 and 3. and you might need to change that color. This is the ones that don't. So this isn't one. Well, it is one, but it's in the mechanism of sliding down this sheet. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that there was special stuff going down in there and how the mechanism would work in the other files. So that's where you would do that in, and it's also registering the status. And there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this simple mechanism that calls it something different, but is basically just one-step mechanics from being something. Basically, at that point in time, it becomes a cipher. As long as ciphers work A1, then we're pinging on words that work. Now, loosely, that does. It's just faster on the other side of it to say, is that one? Yes. Is that an apple? Yes. That's one apple on the table. This is the lacking. This is what a 0 apples looks like on the table when it's supposed to be a 1, because if it wasn't supposed to be a 1, there's no reason for it to be a 0 in any way. So NA would have been a better term than the proper notation of what's happening down there. And we'll get into that. You're going to get into a lot of other models of what the stonemason looks like, and what our results are supposed to be, or why I was specifically indexing one specific line out of all of them in here to rule them all. Anyways, catch you on the next one.